Hello, this is the TradeSite Stocks and Futures Market Preview and Domestic Economic Data Roadmap for the week beginning Monday, the 17th of July, 2017, ending Friday, the 21st. It was a flatter week until the very end. The action's been bad in the mornings. It's summertime, clearly. And this next week, the one thing to keep in mind is that this is options expiration week as well. So we'll talk about that in a few minutes, but that tends to slow things down next Friday for sure. And anyways, we'll see what we get. Here's a look at the ES front month futures contract. This is the daily chart of the broad market and futures form. Ended up rising to new closing highs at the close on Friday after a flat first half of the day. We'll look at all the major indices, then we'll look at the intra-week action. So here's a look at the crude oil, 46.55. Still closer to the lower half of the range from the last year. Been pretty narrow there. Gold up $11.20. S&P cash index up 11.44. There's your new closing high there. NDX 100 up 44, not new highs. SOX up 14.19. Biotech's up a point, not a big deal. This is the one I said needs to turn and run. I said earlier in the week, and it started to turn up, but it just hasn't made a move yet. This is the disturbing thing here. This is what we don't like to see, especially in the summer. This is the VIX. Lowest close of the year on the VIX, 9.51. No volatility, no action, horrible. Trend closes at 1, 10-day moving average at 1.07. NASDAQ volume was only 1.6 billion shares. You can see the average, 10-day moving average has really dropped off in volume here the last couple of weeks. Advanced decline ratio on the NASDAQ plus 275. Advanced decline ratio on the New York plus 1292, much more breadth in the broad market. Google up 8 again, because why not? Apple up $1.27, finally kind of moving after being flat for 3 or 4 weeks. Amazon up $1, that's a blip for Amazon. Netflix up almost 3. By the way, it's going to put us soon at a 13 sell signal on Netflix if it gets up much higher to that 8 level. Tesla up 437, bouncing off that red static trend line. TLT, the 20-year bond ETF, down or up 15 cents. Goldman Sachs, notably, down $1.80. Still in this range it's been stuck in. All right, let's look at the intra-week action on the futures. So Monday, flat opening, flat first hour, inched up a bit over lunch, right ahead of lunch, and then just dead flat the rest of the day. Tuesday, small gap down, we filled it, and then we plunged. We came back up, basically closed about flat. Wednesday, gap up and pushed for about 30 minutes, and then dead flat most of the rest of the day. That's the problem. Then there's no intraday action here. Thursday, flat opening, kind of wiggled both ways, popped up to the highs right before lunch, and then just completely dead flat, a 3 or 4 point range on the ES the rest of the day. And then Friday, we had a flat opening, and look at that first 2 hours, 3 hours, it's just horrible. And then right in the middle of lunch, all of a sudden, they just started buying it up, because why not? I will point out on the ES, if you go to the 5-minute chart with the Comer, it's kind of interesting, is it got a 13 sell signal late in the day, and then look at that late rollover right on the signal. Pretty impressive. NASDAQ side, not much there. Let's go back to the 10-minute chart. Still not much there. All right, so let's talk about what we've got coming out this week in terms of data. And again, I would tell you that the main focal point could be that it's options expiration. So Monday, we've got the Empire Manufacturing number at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. That is not a big deal. Tuesday, we've got import-export prices at 8:30. We've got the NAHB Housing Market Index at 10. We've got the net long-term tick flows at 4 in the afternoon. None of those are huge. Wednesday, MBA Mortgage Applications Index at 7 a.m. Building permits and housing starts at 8:30. Crude oil inventories, that's the weekly number, an hour into the market. Thursday, Philly Fed at 8:30 a.m. along with the weekly initial and continuing jobless claims numbers. They've been pretty much the same as they've been for years. Initial claims are always around 245K. Leading indicators, 30 minutes into the market. Natty gas inventories, that's the hourly number. Friday, there is no data. No data coming out. But Friday, as I said, is options expiration. This is not a triple expiration, so we're not expiring futures and commodities and all that stuff. It is just pure options in the middle of the heart of summer. So maybe we'll get an options unraveling move. I don't know if there's a lot of options positions out there right now based on the way the market's been behaving. But maybe we'll get an options unraveling move either Wednesday or Thursday like usual. Friday, summer Fridays, you expect them to be slow. July, options expiration in July can often be one of the most boring days of the year. So just remember that on Friday. Plan accordingly or take the day off. Charts as usual brought to you by eSignal. If you've not yet taken the trial of our services, feel free to do so. We will help you out for a couple weeks. Have a great trading week.